Hey guys, welcome back to the Golf Podcast. This is episode number 348. Mike, tons to talk about today.
Well, it's been a bit. We've been out playing golf and not in here, so.
We have been. And unfortunately this morning it was snowing.
Yes, so.
What the heck? I mean,
getting
come
closer.
on. We'll still be out there playing. But anyway, we're going to talk a lot about putting today. We have been fortunate enough this season to really work in a number of new putting drills that we learned from some really great coaches. Matt Wilson, Brad Worthington. So if you've seen on the channel, or have seen on the videos on Golficity, you've seen that we've done some of that, and we've really learned a lot from it. So we're going to weave that in, but we're also going to talk about just 3 great putting drills you can use. And I think it's a great time to talk about it because if you're like us, you're starting to head into kind of that off season, and putting is one of those things that you can continue to practice.
But most people don't.
Most people don't, right? But there's a lot of ways you can roll a ball on their carpet. Right. And nowadays there are so many options for some really great true rolling putting mats that are out there that don't have to be too expensive. We just put in a huge putting green here at the office, which is it's just terrific. That video will be out very soon showing you guys how we did that. But we're committed to it. We're going to be working more on our putting, but we're going to talk about that. There's a lot of great stuff that you can do, like I said, especially in the off season to really hone your putting. But if you are someone who's fortunate enough that you're going to be outdoors consistently, if you're one of those lucky ones who live down south, there's a lot of these drills that are just great on the putting green, practice putting surface. And that is one of those things, Mike, that people don't do enough. We don't spend enough time over there. We hit the range, and sometimes we'll go out and roll a few putts just to see how they're rolling that day.
Right.
But man, I cannot tell you how much it'll change your putting. And this is coming from a guy who struggled with putting. How much it will change your game just to pop over there after work and just you're not even going out to play golf. You just spend 30 minutes on the putting surface.
Yeah. It's just, there's nothing sexy about it.
That's really
why most people don't do it, because they think about, hitting the big stick, going to the range, getting their swinging gear. But
I'll tell you what.
Yep.
There is something sexy about winning money.
Yeah, dude.
And I'll tell you what, where you're going to win that money is right there on the putting.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. That's where you're going to score.
That's it. So we're going to dive into that in a minute. And of course, as always, we welcome your own suggestions. So if you've got a putting drill or something like that that's really worked for you, make sure you drop it in the comments, mention it in the Facebook group, tweet us, because we want to continue the conversation. We're going to name 3 that we like today, but we want to hear from you guys as well. Other big things that we've got going on, Mike, talk a little bit about Z-Strict.
So we're going to be doing a live podcast at Z-Strict in Stamford, Connecticut. We've been there before. Place is great. It's really a huge, indoor simulator place with amazing technology from Golf Zone. If you haven't seen the video where we were there, they have the simulator bays where the ground moves based on the lie.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like that.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So we'll be there. It's basically going to be very limited because of COVID. The place holds about 150 people, but we're really going to keep it down to 50. Mm-hmm. We've got it's October 30th today as we're recording this. But by the time this drops, it should be close to maxed out. We're at about 25 so far. More and more keep coming every day. So if you're going to be in the area, come out, hang out. Like I said, it's going to be safe. You're going to be required to wear masks. They're going to do fever check at the door.
Yep.
So I love to hear that. They're going to make sure everyone's safe. And again, 50 people in this huge space is pretty spread out. So Frank and I will be there. We're going to do a live podcast. Ben from Z-Strict, who's a great guy, GM there, he's going to come on and talk about the technology. And guys, it's Masters Week.
Yeah.
So if you want to celebrate Wednesday night before the kickoff of Masters, come on out and hang out.
And we'll be watching that replay. This place is loaded with TVs. But like Mike said, we wouldn't do this if it wasn't safe. The first question we had for Z-Strict when they invited us to do this was, how are we going to control for safety? So like Mike said, it's going to be very, very limited, which is why it's free tickets, but you do need to reserve your spot, because if you just show up, you won't be able to get in. And as I said, we're going to be doing mass temperature checks, all those things. You got to stay safe. But it is a way that you can come out, get some free simulator time, and participate in this live podcast that we're going to do.
Plus, we're giving away stuff when we're there, so you can get some stuff. Plus, everybody that comes is going to get 1 hour free sim rental when they go back to Z-Strict.
Exactly, and you'll have the free sim while you're there. So it'll be fun. We'll do some competitions too.
Yep.
Maybe some long drive and things like that.
Definitely.
The old chiropractor special.
The old chiropractor special. Starting to catch up to me, by the way. I was here this morning early trying it.
There you go. Other big thing we had on the YouTube channel on Golficity, we've had some really fun videos. We did the FPV drone. How cool was that?
So cool. So cool. We just watched it yesterday, just dropped, and we've been so blessed, these past few months, just getting out on these courses and filming things like that FPV drone, club fittings, course vlogs, one-hole challenges, the putting green build-out, which was awesome, which my daughter and I were watching it. We laughed out loud for that one scene in the hallway. I'm not
the hallway, yes.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Yeah.
But lots of great stuff we've been able to do this year in 2020, despite being locked up for 3 months.
Right.
So.
Right, and that's it. We've just been trying to make up for a lot of lost time, but it's been good, and hopefully you guys have been enjoying it. Make sure if you're not already subscribed on YouTube, subscribe there so you can see the videos as well as in the Golficity app.
And I did want to mention this because a lot of people have been messaging and asking. We are going to be doing a TSI metal fitting.
Yes.
And that's going to be next Friday. What a way to spend my birthday, man. I love it. Get a nice metal fitting over with Kevin Sprecher, back with our buddy over at Sleepy Hollow. Can't wait to see him and do that fitting. And then I think we're going to be heading up to Manchester Lane for a ball fitting soon.
But
we won't be releasing that stuff until next year, but this is just stuff that's on our calendar this year that I'm super excited about.
Yeah, and with the gains we saw with the TSI drivers, I'm very excited to do the metal woods as well.
And I'm excited to see what ball is appropriate now because it's been so long since we did the last one.
Right. And that's a big key takeaway. We talked about fittings. We've talked about it here on the podcast so much. Fittings, again, it's a moving target, especially if you're in a position like we are where we're not professional golfers. We're guys who are working on our game. So things are changing. We've done a lot of work on both of our games this year. Tee to green. I've changed almost everything with my putting. We're both working on things like that, shallowing out the club more. We're making different impact. We're doing a different club path through the ball. I'm hitting down on the ball more, putting more spin on it, whereas before I was relying on more height to get my ball to stop. So when you do make those changes, that is the time to reassess and get fit again if you possibly can. So we're going to be going through all those again, and of course we will continue to update you guys on all of that progress. All right, want to dive into this week's Twitter tap-in, which appropriately is going to be about putting. But before we do, want to thank our sponsor, Titleist. Look, everybody wants a faster golf ball, and performance into and around the greens makes a big difference in what you write down on your scorecard. So speed meets performance with the new Titleist Tour Speed. The Tour Speed has been proven faster than Callaway Chrome Soft, the Bridgestone Tour BRX, and TaylorMade's Tour Response. So you can see that. You can see that on the Titleist website. You can see the comparison data that they did there. And what I like too about the Tour Speed, it's got a great price point. Okay, a lot of technology for a ball that's not going to, kind of break the bank. Titleist, they did extensive training, testing with amateur golfers, developing the Tour Speed's 3-piece thermoplastic urethane construction. And that gives you that soft feel, the exceptional distance in the long game, and that precise short game scoring control. Really sets it apart from the competition. Guys, get the new Tour Speed or get left behind.
Dude, when I broke 80, it was the EXP01. Which is the Tour Speed.
Which was, that was the predecessor to the Tour Speed.
I used that ball for, I think, from holes like 2 on through 18. So
that
tells you something. That's
why I've played around with it. Like I said, for me, it'll be interesting to see what happens in that ball fitting. I'm still a Pro V1 guy. However, I was incredibly impressed with tee to green again, because I feel like sometimes some ball, you hear like speed, you think it's a distance ball, but this ball does not lose that feel around the greens. It's got a great feel. So give it a test. I think the best thing you guys can do with any of this type of stuff is every golfer is different. You got to put it in your own hands. Just buy a sleeve. Before you even commit to a dozen, buy a sleeve, go out and see how it performs for you. I got a feeling it's going to perform really well. All right, let's talk about this week's Twitter tap-in. If you're not already following us on Twitter, make sure you do so at Golficity so that you can be part of the Twitter tap-in. Every week, we've got these going to go all the way through the end of the year, if not longer. And these are a really fun way that we can kind of talk about different golf topics throughout the week. So this week we asked, for this week's Twitter tap-in, we said, what putter make and model are you currently gaming and why? So, of course, let's start with ourselves here, Mike. What do you got?
I've had the Scotty Cameron Newport 2 and absolutely love it.
Yeah. You've had a heck of a year for putting.
Yeah.
We can go back to the videotape and see you've made quite a few putts.
I made quite a few, and that's obviously a very important part of your game. We're going to talk about that today. And getting fit into that putter was such an awesome move. I was coming off of a hand-me-down. And it did well for me learning the game for those 5 years that I've had it.
Yeah.
But what a difference when I was switched to ball and new putter.
Yeah.
That combination, that roll was so different and game changer.
Yeah. And a lot of people ask us, where should I start with fittings? And I just think especially if it's a budget thing and you want maximum bang for your buck, start with a putter fitting, which is funny because a lot of people, it's the last thing they think of. You think of going and getting fit for the latest driver, which is great. But a putter is something that's going to last you a long, long time. Look how long Tiger's been using the same putter, more or less.
Exactly.
Right? It's going to last you a long time. You make that investment. You realize this is something you could hang on to for a decade or longer. But I can't tell you how much of a confidence boost it is knowing you've got something that fits you and fits your game. And if you get a good fitting, one where you get on that Sam Putt Lab and things like that, man, it is a game changer. If you're looking for a good fitting, I would say a good place to start, because they're all over the place, is Club Champion.
Yeah.
But what I just think, go to a really reputable fitter, and it's going to be a little bit of investment. Those types of fittings usually aren't free, right? So, but again, you're investing in yourself, you're investing in your game. So that leads me where I'm saying that where I got my putter now, going back three years ago, I think it is. I got the Bettinardi BB1.
Yeah, that was love at first sight, wasn't it?
Yes, because I just started. You saw the difference. It was same as you. Yep. I walked in there with an off the rack, actually hand-me-down putter. It was a putter that my father used for years, and when he moved on to another one, he gave me this one. And just from that beginning of the session to the end of the session, the number of putts I was holing was ridiculously different. And I've since done a lot of different changes and grown with that putter. I've even adapted it a little bit. I shortened it up a little bit. Kevin Sprecher had recommended that to me, so I shortened it up just a bit. But the Bettinardi BB1 LN, I love it. I love the look of it. I love the feel of it. I love how soft the face is. And I just get confidence from it. So I've been using that for quite some time. I've experimented with other putters, but just nothing has performed the same for this as this for me.
I love the look of the black. It's sleek.
Yeah.
I wish you had black irons and wedges throughout the bag now, because that TSI looks like, Starship or whatever. It looks like
Darth Vader.
Yes.
Very Darth Vader.
And then you've got the black Bettinardi. It's so sweet.
I would love to too. I feel like with the putter, it's great because you don't get that finish wear.
Yep.
But some of the other ones, you get that kind of finish wear. But all right, let's dive into a few of these here. Let's see. Eric Benzenberg, he said the even roll ER 1.2. It's a milled putter head. The grooves, he said the grooves actually help, and I was fit for it by Club Champion. There you go. I've heard a lot of great things coming from them, and there's so many independent putter makers now that are really making waves. I think there's another one, Lab Putt, I think they're called. They've been doing tremendous things. It's cool to see so much innovation in that space, especially now when we have these new tools available, like 3D printing.
Yeah,
and things like that are an AI.
Yep.
It's amazing.
Look at Bradley putters.
Yeah,
making putters out of like wood and stone, whatever he makes them out of.
Right, but still, even we've had him on the show dating back a long way. But the amount of tech that he talked that went into that, because it's not just carving it out of wood. He's putting the weighting in there and stuff like that. But I like to see that. Of course, there's the main names that are tried and true, like I said, like Scotty Cameron, who's just like the genius of putting, of course. But also seeing some of these other guys bringing new stuff to the table, I think it levels everyone up. For sure. I love seeing some of these different names were in there.
What about C. Clark here with his first and only putter? It's the Green Killer from AccuTrack Balanced. Look at that picture of that thing. You see this? Hold
on, I gotta see this.
You gotta see that thing. I don't know. It's I think he's more at the top.
Oh my God, there's so many responses.
Look at this thing.
Look at that.
But just like Tiger, if you got something that works,
right,
you stick with it.
That's it.
What else we got here?
I see a lot of Odyssey.
Do you see a lot of Odyssey?
Old Man Golf says Odyssey Stroke Lab V-Line. Absolutely love it. That's a pretty putter right there. He said it looks great at address and the weighting feels perfect. You can't undervalue that, how it looks.
Right.
We've heard even Kevin say that in some of the fittings. He goes, how does it look to you? I want to know how it looks, because and we're not just talking about a vanity thing here. Look inspires confidence. So if you're looking down at a club and everything can look different to somebody else. One club may inspire confidence in me, but right? So it's just got to be like, it's a very hard to measure thing. But if it just looks good to you, don't undervalue that, because that is something that can help inspire confidence. And you want to be confident when you putt. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So Odyssey must be up there. They must be up there as a top brand in putters. You see a lot of Scotty Cameron. Here's a Ping.
Yeah, Kyle Stevener says Ping Answer 5 TR. I was fit for it and it works. Can't argue with works.
Can't argue that. Right.
That's right, and I love to hear that's fit. It was fit. Zach Mexon says Scotty Cameron Phantom 7. Always wanted a Scotty. It feels great. So confident when I pull it out. There's the word. right?
It is.
And that Phantom line is sick.
It is really sick.
It really is.
Yep.
And
stealth.
yeah, and I like that in that Scotty line, you've got so many different variations between the mallet and the blade and stuff like that, so you can find something that works. I saw that Justin Thomas edition that came out recently.
Oh yeah, how
that
cool
thing
is
was
that?
pretty dope.
Sleek.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we've got.
A lot of Scotties here.
Yeah. Sean Tobin, Scotty squareback and added heavier weights. Loved the solid feel. Spent over an hour in the golf shop trying all they had, and it was my favorite. Closely followed by the Ping Sigma 2. Try to say Ping Sigma 2 5 times fast. Wow. But that's great. He spent an hour there and he tested everything. That's what you want to do.
Due diligence. I love it. I mean, why not? Like, again, if you're going to invest time into a club, why not it be your putter? It's what you use the most while you're out there. Tim Woodward Media says Nike Method 001. Love the feel and the weight. So there's a putter that goes back a little ways.
Yeah.
So
Stroke Lab V-Line. Absolutely love it. Is that what you were just talking about?
No, no, that was, let's see. No, this one doesn't have a picture. The Nike Method.
Gotcha. So many putters I've never heard of. This is crazy.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. There's so much out there as far as these newer names too that have been coming in that I really like to see.
For sure. Even roll Tommy Armour, Spider X.
Do you know who we should have had on for this? is Ronnie. He could have answered something different every day. The guy owns 15 putters. Yeah. But too good. I mean, there's so much here, and we could talk putters all day. There's just so many great options out there. But again, I think if this proves any point that we're trying to make, if you scroll through here and so how many different ones and how many of each of these people who chimed in are happy with their putter, it just does show that every golfer is different.
Right.
So it is so unique. It is such a personal decision type of thing. But don't go with the thing just because you've heard it works for others, stuff like that. Go out there, get fit if you can, definitely test, and go with what really inspires confidence in your putting.
Confidence.
If you've got that, then don't worry about anything else. Don't worry about the name. Don't worry about whatever it may be. If it inspires confidence, go with it. And then I'm a big proponent of not constantly switching putter.
Yep.
I would much rather, again, I feel like I'm hitting a moving target if I do that. I would much rather, anyone, like in any sport and in any aspect of sports, you're going to go through slumps, right? We both played baseball.
Yep.
You know what it's like to go through a slump. I'm not going to change my bat.
Right.
So same thing with while I agree, and I've said this before, a good fitting is a great thing to do, but I don't think that every time your putting is off, the first thing to look at is changing your putter. Look at other things. Look at the drills we're going to talk about. Look at how much practice time you're putting in. Look at whatever it may be, confidence, understand, and also sometimes just ride it out. Just realize you're not going to putt terrific all the time.
Right, exactly.
On tour, they don't. So understand and just recognize it might be a slump, and then don't just go and change immediately, because if you do, now you're kind of like readjusting to that.
Yeah, and it could be as easy as buying a putting mirror.
Yes.
Believe me, that's helped my game.
Yes, working with the putting mirror quite a bit. All right, so let's do a quick word from our sponsors, then I want to dive into these 3 great practice drills that we have for you guys.
Yeah, let's do it. So, guys, this episode of the Golf Podcast is brought to you by ShotScope, the all-in-one GPS and stat tracking watch. It's sold out due to popular demand, but I'm going to tell you in a second where you could potentially get some. We got a little
inside information?
We know a couple of websites. I'll mention them in a sec. But for those of you who don't know, the ShotScope V3, this was upgraded in July to the V3. The new ShotScope watch offers golfers this laser-like GPS. It's more accurate than it was before. It's smaller, sleeker. It's got color bands, color screen display. The battery life is double the...
Tremendous.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah.
8 hours, minimum. You can really play 2 rounds of golf on it in one day without having to charge it. So you're also going to be rewarded with a lot of stats about your game. Strengths, weaknesses. You can look back on some of those pretty shots that you left 1 or 2 feet, or that hole-in-one that you want to capture, and you have it. Mm-hmm. I love sharing a nice long drive or a great birdie or something on Instagram every now and then. But like I said, sold out. You can put your email in at shotscope.com/Golficity. They'll let you know when it's available. But check out sites like Global Golf, Morton Golf, Golf Galaxy, or golf-anytime.com. Last we heard, there might be some there, about 100 of them.
Yeah.
If you were waiting for it, and you're hearing this, just jump on it and get it. It's going to make a great gift too coming up for the holidays if you wanted to buy that golfer in your life something. So they're going to love this product, and now you can get it. No one else can really get it because we're filling you in a little inside information here. So go get it.
Yeah, and it's great to be able to get it directly from ShotScope, but then now that this year they've introduced retailers, sometimes you can catch it in stock there.
That's it.
But the other thing I love about the ShotScope, and you guys ask often why we choose to use it, I like it because it just keeps getting better. So they just had yet another firmware release, which now, Mike, right on the watch after you hit a shot, you can measure the distance.
It's cool.
So we always like going back and seeing some of our better drives and see how long did it go later after the round. But now you can do it in round. You can actually, after your drive and you get to your ball, you can just click a little thing on your watch and immediately measures the shot with GPS.
Right.
So how cool is that? And there's no subscription fees. So it just, you buy the watch once, you've got access to all of that. And as it gets better with these firmware updates, you're not paying for it each time.
Right, exactly. So. And if stats are not for you, you could buy the G3, which is just GPS only. It's a little bit cheaper, and they are available. We're going to be doing a video soon using the G3. We're going to try to take a worst ball challenge again. That's always fun.
That's always a challenge.
And hopefully we'll give some away. So stay tuned for that. And lastly, I just want to thank FootJoy, guys, the #1 outerwear brand in golf. They're committed to helping you extend the golf season as long as possible. Playing in days like today, when I woke up, it was 38 and snowing. But extreme weather conditions, made specifically for golf with materials that's quiet, comfortable, waterproof. It moves with you during the swing. The Hydro Tour, and I'm laughing because we just tested out the waterproof functionalities. If you've missed it, go check it out.
It involved me throwing buckets of water.
Awesome video. It's on our Instagram and YouTube. Go check it out. Hydro Tour will keep you warm and dry whether you're playing in the Northeast or the north coast of Scotland. So Hydro Tour features a patented new dry seal collar. It's a double collar. It moves water away from the back of your neck, not down it. No one wants water going down their neck. That would be so horrible out there, no matter how hard the rain is coming down. So like you said, you threw buckets of water at me, and I still was dry. It was incredible. So play more this year. Play better. Check out the Hydro Tour rain jacket and all the other industry-leading rainwear from FootJoy at footjoy.com/MEDP for make every day playable.
Yeah, it's a brilliant little piece of, it's apparel, but it's a brilliant piece of tech because they thought of so much with that jacket.
Yeah, they did.
All right, so let's just talk about putting in general and improvement. It's a big component of it is about speed control. So most of what we're going to talk about here is going to be geared around speed control. The reality is every single pro we've ever worked with and talked to, they've all said the same thing. If you can get the speed right, if you don't hole it, at the very least, you're going to be close enough for the tap in.
Yep.
Right. So yes, there's break and things like that are very important that go into it. But if you can nail that speed down, trust me, you're going to start walking out of there more 1 and 2 putts and avoiding the 3 putt. But one big thing that I would say, no matter what we talk about here, the idea and to set your mind to is that it's truly a long game. It takes time. Okay, this is not something that it's going to be like, this is the quick and easy drill, the quick and easy tip. Now, none of these are complex to perform, but understand that all of them will take time before you start to see the benefits. And the one thing that really highlighted that to me was when we were working with Brad Worthington, who is the director of instruction over at Pound Ridge.
Right. Mm-hmm.
When we worked with him, he said, I'm going to show you a putting drill. There was nothing complex to this putting drill. It's very similar to some of the ones we're going to talk about here. And he said, you do this regularly for a year, right? So he said for a year, he goes, and your putting will be transformed. You will be a better putter going forward. Mm-hmm. And that's where you start to understand, okay, this is not something that I'm going to be vastly better in a weekend.
Right.
I think it'll be a starting point. You do these drills for a week or two, and then all of a sudden you're going to start to see you're getting better.
Yep.
But to become a really better putter, it takes time. And as we start to explore more and more of top talent, we were just out at a golf school in Connecticut, right? And you see these kids, 15 years old, and these are the kids who are competing for the top scholarships to go to the top, colleges and eventually work their way onto tours. Right. We're talking about incredible amount of putting that they're putting in every single day. So when you see these guys on TV that are such amazing putters, it didn't come from just in a snap,
right?
Or they weren't born with it. It takes time. So what I would say is any one of these drills, and all of these drills really to work in, the best thing you can do for yourself is make the commitment. make the commitment to do it and do it regularly. Don't think it's going to change in an instant. And if you're wondering or lamenting, why is my putting not getting any better? If you take a hard, honest look and you think, how much am I really practicing? Do you really think that your putting is going to get any better just by rolling a few for 5 minutes before you go out? It's just not going to happen. It really does putting the work in. That said, if you're committed and you're ready to put the work in, these are the drills that you can apply. Yeah. And you will become a better putter.
Absolutely.
There's just no denying that. So the first one, and this is really dives into the idea of speed control. We call this one long, short, perfect. So it's a very simple drill, but what it's going to really do is going to give you a feel for how much pace you need to put on the ball. And it's something to try in different scenarios on different greens. Different greens roll differently. Different greens have different grass, different grains. They're firmer, they're softer. So getting out there and practicing this on different in different facilities is great. Obviously, if you just got a home course with a home, type of some practice screen that you can go to start working on it there. Mm-hmm. Hey, why not be dialed in at your home course? It's probably where most of your golf is being played anyway. But this one is pretty simple. The way you're going to do this is just set 3 golf balls down on the green. You pick out a target around 20 to 30 feet away. So remember, a lot of these drills we're going to work at a little bit more of a distance because the distance is going to put more of that premium on speed. Mm-hmm. I think if you're a 3-4 foot putt, sometimes you can get that speed a little wrong and still hole it. If it's too fast, it'll still sometimes drop in or whatever it may be. But this is where speed is really going to come into play, these longer ones. So take a minute to read the putt just like you would on the course. And again, this is another reason why sometimes on the putting green, we just glance at it. We don't give it a read, but it's a good place to practice your reading too, which I can talk about that little circle that I have and I did with Matt Wilson. But practicing reading greens is important too. But what you want to do is you got the 3 balls. With your first putt, try to leave the ball about 3 feet short of the cup. The next putt, you're going to try to leave it about 3 feet long. So it feels weird to be intentionally missing it, but you're not intentionally missing it. What you're really doing is intentionally trying to get the speed to an exact point.
Right.
So first one, leave it 3 feet short. Next one, leave it 3 feet long. And then with the third ball, here's where you're going to try to hole it. Now, it's going to be very difficult to hole a putt from 20 to 30 feet, but what you're doing is you're developing that feel. Here's what it feels like to be a little bit short. Here's what it feels like to be a little long. And you're really, at that point, controlling speed rather than letting the speed surprise or control you.
Right.
So good speed control, it's all about making those adjustments along the way. Things are going to change. The golf course is truly a living thing. So as the day, we're out there for 4 hours, as the day changes, things warm up, the sun hits the green differently. Believe it or not, I've heard someone, I don't remember who it was, who talked about this on the podcast before, but the reality is the grass actually grows between the first hole and the 18th.
That's nuts.
Right? So it's growing out there. By the time you reach the 18th hole, it's going to be a little different. Now, it's not going to be so significant that you're going to really notice it, but the point I'm trying to make is that things change. So you need to be able to adapt. And this is a drill that will really put a focus on adapting, being able to change your speed control, leaving a little short, taking a little long, and then holding it. So this is something that can be very difficult at first, but as you do it, again, time commitment, as you're doing this drill, once a week, like every week, you start to see how you get better. But don't be surprised that first time that if you're having a little more trouble than this than you expected.
Right.
20 to 30 feet and then trying to just getting those exacting 3 feet long, 3 feet short, that's going to be difficult to do. And you'll start to notice from that distance, the actual variation in your speed to change that just 3 feet from 3 feet short to holding it, it's very subtle. So you're really training yourselves on those subtleties of how you can, just change that speed controls a little bit. So you need a lot of practice for this one, but as you get better, you can add difficulty. You can do longer putts. You can add some more slopes, but challenge yourself. Don't ever stay in your comfort zone. Outside your comfort zone is where you learn.
That's right. I like it. Force yourself to learn.
Now force it. Yeah.
Right.
That's right.
All right. So what do we got here? So that was a good one. Number 2.
Number 2.
This is funny. It's called Get There. This reminds me of the Swingers movie. Do you remember that? The opening scene, they're playing golf.
Get there. Play it up.
Play it up.
Play it up.
So of course, what's the line? You miss 100% of the putts you leave short.
That's right.
And that's what happens. So
my old coach used to always say, "Don't leave it short. Don't leave it short."
Right. And for you, just talking about long lag putts, 20, 30 feet, and you're getting it to a close distance, so you could tap it in. So what if we moved it up 10, to a 10-foot putt? Mm-hmm. And I like this drill because this reminds me of the Brad Worthington drill.
Yes.
I'm going to call it the Brad Worthy drill, actually, because this was a great drill, and it's something we did before we played that day with him. So I think it's also a great warm-up drill too. But this is how you do this. This is for speed control. We leave putts short, but we don't want to kind of hit it harder next time because you've been struggling. I do this all the time. I hit the putts too short, and then eventually I'm like, I got to get this thing there. I keep leaving them short, and then I'll blow it past.
Blow it right past. Yep.
Right. So how do I work on speed control? So here's a cool drill. Find a flat spot on a practice green 10 feet away from the hole, right? And then take a few golf tees and you put them behind the cup. I would say 2 feet behind the cup. Yeah. About 2 feet behind the cup. Then just roll a few putts from the starting point, from that 10-foot putt. And the goal, obviously, is to make the putt. You're going to go for the hole here. But the secondary goal is that you don't want the putt to touch the tees. So you don't want to roll it past 2 feet. Right. The goal is to get it within 2 feet. Hold a putt is goal number one. If you miss it, you want it to not hit the tees behind it. And I think this is a great drill to work on speed control.
Yeah, well, the most important secondary thing is that you have to get it to the cup.
Right.
So what they're saying is if that ball finishes, it needs to finish either, to be successful, it either needs to finish in the hole or behind the hole but short of the tee. So in other words, you're not blowing it way by, but a failure in this particular drill would be leaving it short of the hole.
Correct.
So you want to make sure that, and what Brad did with us is he gave us that little buffer. He's like, I don't care if you miss this putt, but if you do, miss it long without going past that tee.
Yes.
And that's where, and if you really want to see the effect of this, watch the PGA Tour event that's on this Sunday, right? Count in your mind how many times they, from lag putts, leave it short. And you're going to see it doesn't happen that often.
Right.
If those guys miss it, it's usually, hole high, left or right by a little bit. They misread the break, or it rolls just past, and then they go and tap it in. But very, very rare that they leave it short because they understand how important that is. A short putt is never going to make its way in.
For sure.
So yeah, this is so simple to do. Put that tee behind the ball, putt at it, and then just say, I'm either holding it or I'm going to go long, but not past that tee.
Yeah.
And your speed control will get much better. It just wanted to, before I dive into the last one, which we'll call Coast to Coast, want to mention that what I had done with Matt Wilson was, and this video you can see on our YouTube channel or on Golficity, we worked with he gave me a little circle, like this little, very flat little circle. It was like a piece of paper. And he'd say, he'd give me different putts and he'd say, look at this line. I want you to set this circle down in a spot where you feel the ball needs to roll over it in order to get, into the cup. So that was a way that really helped me with reads. So I would have to spend more time and I'd actually put this, in different spots. And then what I liked is it gave me the feedback after the fact, because if I was to roll my putt and it went over that circle, but it didn't hole it, it told me that I got one of two things wrong, either the speed or the read wrong.
Correct.
Right? Now, if I put that thing down and I don't roll the putt over it, then I know that I just executed wrong. I had the read, but I didn't do what I needed to do. So any type of little physical feedback, and that's what I like about putting, man. You can practice it so cheap.
You can.
What did we talk about so far? What did we give you guys as training aids? Tees and a piece of paper.
That's it.
Right? So it doesn't have anything fancy or complex. Yes, there's some great putting mirrors out there, and we'll talk about that on another episode. But for these speed drills, you don't need much.
And in that particular...
It's just time.
Yeah, it's just time. You're right. And in that particular drill, he was putting on that green tracer line to show you that you got the read right.
Read was right.
So it was your speed that was either right or wrong.
Exactly. So this last drill is called Coast to Coast. And this is where, especially if you get an opportunity where you find yourself on the practice putting green kind of to yourself, and you can kind of just use the whole green. What this is going to do is going to simulate those time to times where we're out on the course and we get a really long putt. And again, dealing with reality of us being amateur golfers, we are faced with long putts a little bit more often than the pros, right? Because our proximity to the hole is not nearly what it is for them.
Right.
So a lot of times, honestly, I'm choosing very safe targets out there. Sometimes that's just hitting the middle of the green. I just want my GIR, right? And I want to be putting, but the pin might be on a Sunday pin tucked way away. So now I face myself with this very, very long putt, and I don't want to walk out there with a 3-putt. So this coast to coast drill can really help you get ready and prepare for those scenarios. So this is where, again, as big of a green as you have, you want to work with it 100 feet if it has to be. Because again, we're going to work on that very, very long pace control. And what you do is basically take a look at the green, look at what's the longest kind of distance I can putt this ball. Don't even worry about a hole for right now. Mm-hmm. Go coast to coast. Set the ball down on one side, right? And then what you want to do is essentially you're going to use the fringe on the other side as your target. So, and this is nice too, because you can you walk back and forth and putt them. So you're going to putt one, putt it all the way across, and try to get your speed control that it doesn't blow off of the putting surface, but it also doesn't, only make it halfway. What you really want to do, it's kind of like if you ever play billiards or pool, and you sometimes in the beginning to see who goes first, you kind of hit the cue ball and you say who can get closest to the edge without touching it. Yep. Right? So it's the same type of thing. Or the little football game we used to play, right? Yep. So with those types of things, what you want to do is you want to go all the way across, get as close to the fringe and the edge of the other side without blowing it off of the green. And then what you can do is as you putt that, you walk across the green, putt it back and go back and forth and get the feel of the speed for a long distance putt like that.
I like it.
And I can't tell you, it may seem like kind of like silly, like, oh, how often am I faced with a 100-foot putt? But the reality is you are faced with long putts more often than you think. If you've got your shot scope, you can look in your data and you can look at some of those long putts you've had. Also, you and I, Mike, we've putt from off the green a lot.
We do.
Right? We've played some terrific courses this year that have had some fairways that are faster than some greens I've played. Yeah. And being off them, and I'm like, this is almost just like a long putt, and I'll putt it a very long way. And you start to realize quickly that if you don't have any practice doing that, that can be very hard. And you blow it way by the hole or you leave it way short.
Yeah. I mean, just imagine Mozellem Springs, that round we played over there last week. Those greens were huge.
Huge greens.
And you're going to have huge greens. So you got to be prepared for them. I mean, remember that one hole on the back where the superintendent came out, or the general manager, and he's like, you're lucky if you keep that ball on the green.
Oh, yeah.
And I just touched it and it was gone. And it was a long putt.
Long putt.
But I hear you, man.
Well, that's why it's good. If you look back at what we've said so far, we've talked about practicing 20 to 30 foot putts. We've talked about practicing 10 footers, and now we're talking about 100 footers. It just proves that there is a lot of variation when it comes to the putting surface, and knowing all of your distances is what's going to ultimately make you a better speed and pace putter.
Right.
So go out there and try. Now, I don't think you need to do this coast to coast drill every single time, but I think it's something good to work in every once in a while, so that you're prepared for it. So really challenge yourself. These long practice putts, what they'll do is they'll make the shorter, quote unquote, shorter lag putts seem manageable by comparison. So if you were a dead on 100-foot long lag putter, man, you're going to be just deadly inside of 20 feet.
Absolutely.
So that's where it can really make a difference. And this is one of those spots that as a newer golfer, as a amateur golfer is looking to improve, if you're looking to shave strokes quickly, become a better putter. Because I can tell you right now, I've had so many instances where I've been beat by people who are they struggle getting there to that green, but then once they're on the putting surface, look out.
Yeah.
And those are the guys who are scoring. I don't care what else you're doing out there.
That's it, man. Putting's been my saving grace. I can't hit greens to save my life from the fairway.
And you've been great from distance, man.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many clips I've edited of you fist pumping after a 30-footer drops.
I know. It's great.
And there's probably no clips of that exist for me. But I tell you what, I've been becoming a much better putter from that 10 to 15-foot range, which is where I've been putting most of my attention.
Yeah. Just wait till you guys see that Arcola video we're going to put out soon. Frank was lights out on this.
I tell you what, I am one of those guys who loves fast greens. I've discovered that about myself today. Yeah. I like fast greens are often more true. That's a big thing because usually there's a lot of attention that goes into.
So then you probably find yourself coming up short on regular greens.
Yeah, I just find that I don't get my pace. Again, I need to work on these things. Yeah. I don't get my pace control
I'm right
as
there
good on some of the slower greens.
Yeah.
I either end up leaving it way short because I think they're going to be quicker, or then I get in my mind, like you said before, that I'm leaving everything short and I'll blow it by the green.
Right.
By the hole. But, man, Arcola, fastest greens we've ever played.
14 stimp. Probably higher.
And I tell you what, we've played a lot of fast greens lately.
Yeah, we really have.
But I like a good quick green. I really do. But anyway, hopefully some of these drills help you guys. Like I said, understand and commit that these are the drills, but they're going to take time. Get out there and do these for a while, and you will start to see yourself getting better. And if you are using something like ShotScope to track your stats, you can watch it. It's a slower progression, but all of a sudden you start to watch your putts made go up, your number of 3 putts go down.
Right.
It takes time, but it's a commitment. And if you commit yourself to it, golf is a sport we play for a lifetime, right? You know, God willing, if you're healthy, things like that. But commit yourself to it, to becoming a good putter, and putting a season or 2 in of real concentrated putting work, and it'll pay dividends for years to come.
Big time.
Years to come. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. You can get to everything we talked about, the show notes, by going to golficity.com/episode 348, or as always in the Golficity app. All of the episodes are there. It's available free for Android and iOS. Remember, November 11th, if you're anywhere near Connecticut, come meet us for a live podcast. We're going to be taking some Q&A while we're there as well. So that one should be a lot of fun. We will put the link to that as well in the show notes, also in the video description if you're watching this on YouTube. So you guys can click that and get your free tickets to make sure you're there. Otherwise, if you've got any putting tips of your own, make sure you let us know. Drop them in the comments. Put them in the Facebook group. The Facebook group is a great place to share successes and failures, as we all kind of grow and learn the game a bit more. So that's everything we have for you guys this week. It's great. You know, it's going to be great to see some of you in a few weeks.
Yep.
And trust me, once we're through this pandemic, we'll be back out there doing more live shows, because there's nothing we like more than meetups and being able to physically get to see you guys.
Yeah, I love it.
Real soon.
Can't wait.
Hopefully really soon. All right. We'll see everybody again next week.